Imagine a world where millions are ripped from their homes, crammed onto fetid ships, and forced across a vast ocean. This wasn't a scene from a dystopian novel, but the brutal reality of the transatlantic slave trade. For over 400 years, this horrific chapter in human history saw an estimated 12.5 million Africans stolen and enslaved in the Americas. We know the statistics, the dates, but what about the people? Today, we uncover their untold stories, stories of resistance, courage, and the enduring spirit of humanity. The untold stories. The transatlantic slave trade spanned over 400 years, with an estimated 12.5 million Africans forced into slavery in the Americas. Their journeys were horrific, crammed into fetid ship holds, denied basic sanitation, and subjected to unimaginable cruelty. Countless lives were lost at sea. Yet, amidst the despair, acts of defiance emerged. Revolts were common, showcasing the unyielding spirit of the enslaved. There are documented accounts of slaves taking over ships, some even managing to return to Africa. Many slaves also resisted in more subtle ways. They preserved their cultures through music, storytelling, and religious practices. These traditions became a powerful source of strength and a way to connect with their lost homeland. Story 1. Cudjoe Lewis, Last Survivor. Cudjoe Lewis, also known as Kasola, was one of the last known survivors of the transatlantic slave trade. He was just a young boy in 1860, around the age of 11, when he was kidnapped from Africa in one of the final illegal shipments of enslaved people. His story offers a first-hand account of the horrors he witnessed. Lewis spoke of the cramped conditions on the slave ship, where hundreds of people were forced to live in filth and darkness. There was often a lack of food and water, and disease spread rapidly. He described the Middle Passage as a place of death, where many succumbed to illness and despair. Despite the trauma he endured, Lewis persevered. He found solace in his memories of Africa, the vibrant culture, and the love of his family. He also drew strength from the stories passed down by his fellow captives, tales of resilience and hope that kept their spirits alive. After the Civil War, Lewis became a powerful voice for abolition, sharing his story with the world. He spoke at schools and events, ensuring that the horrors of the slave trade would never be forgotten. Story 2. The Reluctant Stallion. Roque José Florencio, a name lost to time, was known only as Pata Seca, dry foot. Born under a sky not his own, ripped from his homeland, his spirit remained unbroken despite the iron shackles that bound him. Sold to a plantation owner in Brazil, Pata Seca wasn't assigned to the backbreaking labor of the fields. His fate was far crueler. Francisco, the plantation owner, saw potential in Pata Seca's imposing physique. He was chosen as a stud, forced to bear the weight of an unspeakable burden, to father children for the sole purpose of increasing the owner's human livestock. Devoid of love, devoid of choice, Pata Seca became a reluctant stallion, his body a tool for profit. The women he was forced upon bore the brunt of this barbarity. Their dreams, their families, their very bodies were violated to create a new generation of slaves. Pata Seca, despite his circumstances, refused to be solely a pawn. He found solace in quiet moments with some of the women, sharing stories of the home he barely remembered, forging a fragile connection in a world of despair. One woman, Abeni, became a beacon of light. Their stolen moments blossomed into a silent understanding, a shared defiance. Though unable to speak their love, they found solace in each other's resilience. Abeni, blessed with the strength of a lioness, became pregnant with Pata Seca's child. This unexpected gift, a symbol of their stolen humanity, fueled a fire of rebellion within them. Pata Seca, hardened by his experiences, began to subtly sow seeds of resistance. He whispered tales of freedom to the children he was forced to father. A flicker of hope passed from one generation to the next. He aided escapes, using his knowledge of the land to guide others towards the hidden havens called quilombos. Years bled into decades. Pata Seca, a living testament to human endurance, outlived his tormentor. He bore the scars of his past, the weight of fathering over 200 children, a constant reminder of his stolen life. Yet, he also carried the legacy of resistance, the echo of rebellion passed on through his children and their children. When Pataseca finally drew his last breath, it was not as a slave, but as a symbol of defiance. His story, passed down like a whispered prayer, became a testament to the enduring human spirit, a testament to the power of hope even in the face of unimaginable cruelty. The untold stories of the last two transatlantic slave trade survivors were uncovered thanks to the painstaking research of Dr. Hannah Durkin. Matilda McCreer's story. Matilda McCreer, the last survivor who died in 1940, was transported across the Atlantic with her mother Gracie, her three elder sisters, and the man who would go on to be her stepfather. Matilda's family was split up immediately when two of her brothers were left in West Africa. She would never know what happened to them. On arrival in the USA, Matilda was bought by Wilcox County slave owner Memorable Walker Cree, along with her 10-year-old sister Sally and Gracie. Gracie was forcibly paired with Guy, another Clotilda survivor, while her two oldest daughters were bought by another slave owner and never seen again. Ridoshi's story. Ridoshi was forced to become a child bride when she arrived in Alabama and was bought by Washington Smith, owner of the Bogue Chito plantation near Selma. She was enslaved for nearly 5 years. Her husband Yawith was kidnapped with her and died in 1918. Following emancipation, Ridoshi continued to live with her daughter on the plantation where she was enslaved. She died in December 1936. For many years, the last survivor was believed to be a man known as Cudjoe Casola Lewis, who was known to both women. The stories of the transatlantic slave trade survivors are a testament to the enduring human spirit. Their resilience continues to inspire us today. We are not makers of history. We are made by history. Martin Luther King Jr. By learning from the past, we can build a more just and equitable future. Thank you for joining us today. Don't forget to subscribe for more thought-provoking content.